Willie, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great.
It's
great.
about it's about 4:25. I was wondering.
Right.
Yes, we're actually gonna Mr. Lewis and I are gonna wrap up. The kids are hungry.
Oh,
We're still in
okay.
the car. We're still in the car having this conversation.
Sorry for
Oh
interrupting.
my God. Well, it was good having you on, and we don't want you to be a stranger. You're definitely welcome, and we thank you so much for coming on. You and your husband. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Myers.
And if anybody's looking for us, I'm Footlight, Performing Arts and Education Program. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram.
Footlight?
Lewis.
Say it again.
Footlight.
Footlight. FOOTLIGHT?
Yep.
Okay.
Footlight.
Got it.
Performing Arts and Education Program. Yep. And Lewis is, go ahead, Lewis, do your thing.
Yeah, you can reach me through shop.com/Ltone, LTONE, Ltone. That's Louis Antonio. So you can reach me through there. My contact information will be there.
Ltone. I'm sorry, do you mind repeating it?
Shop.com/Ltone. LTONE.
Did you say shop?
Mm-hmm. Shop.com.
Yep, shop, like shopping. SHOP.COM.
Okay.
Shop.com. Yep, it's just a dot in between the com, and then you do a /Ltone. So you can go right to his site.
And I'm sorry, and Ltone, how is that spelled?
Just LTON as in Nancy G.
All right.
Well, and we thank you for being with us, and don't be a stranger. You're definitely welcome to the program. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is great. Thank you for having us. Thank you, Daryl.
Of course. Thanks for coming on.
Supplement that vitamin D.
Absolutely, I'm going to push that.
I was going to ask as a nurse, like, and not to keep you guys, but so I know that that we get a lot through the sun, but what's the average intake for, like, say, I hate to say, my melanin sort of I would assume may help with the vitamin D absorption.
Well, my memory on this part is a little hazy, but during the summer months, the darker one is, the more melanated one is, the longer they have to be out in order to get any real vitamin D creation. So if you're really, really, really light, like, name anyone that's white, maybe 15 minutes would do it, right?
Right.
But maybe 20 minutes at the top, right? But if you're really, 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 really dark on the other end of the spectrum, then you might have to be there for 90 minutes to 2 hours.
We're going to have to
which is
that's a basketball game. Listen.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because
I got something for us coming.
It's worse today than it was, say, 40, 50 years ago, because 40, 50 years ago, people went outside. Now we have air conditioners, Netflix, and all that stuff, everything to stay inside, Yep. And so no one's really going out as much, and now you have jobs that are more indoors and stuff. So even if it's summertime, you're not going outside.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
We just want to thank you again for you guys for tuning in with us. We just want to thank you. We're getting ready to switch over to another portion of the program, but you are definitely welcome to come back at any time. And again, thank you. Thank you so much.
Link us if anyone has questions. Link us. We're more than happy to help.
Oh, God bless. Thank you. Take care now. Okay. Well, you just heard it. We've had a great conversation earlier, and right now, our brother Fitzgerald is still here with us. My co-host is still with us, and our brother, Brother Ace is here with us, and we're going to be, our Dr. Khanna and Brother Gary, Brother Clan is also here with us. We got another guest that's coming on with us. Brother Fitzgerald, are you still here with us?
I'll be in here. Yes,
sir. Okay. Well, great.
Until 6.
Oh, okay, great. Oh, wow. Okay. Hey, let me introduce everybody to Dr. Khanna's kids. He's a kids advocate. I'm going to swing it over to Gary. Gary's going to introduce you and tell them about all of the organizations that we are available to you to. And I just want to say, Gary, are you with us?
I am with you, and we're ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gary.
Thank you so much, Willie. We appreciate it. We're here on the Voice of the Kids segment of the radio show. Thank you for Christian Fellowship Council, the CFC, for letting us go on. We're here with Dr. Surajit Khanna, and I want to let you know where we're at because we are live on so many different places. We're live on Facebook.com/Khanna for Kids. We're live on Willie's page. Go to Willie's page, his Facebook page. We're live on Khanna for Kids Twitter, Voice of the Kids Twitter, Voice of the Kids YouTube, Khanna for Kids YouTube. We're all over the place. That's right, because we want to get the word out about dealing with youth today. And we have a phenomenal guest that we're going to be talking to, medical doctor and MD by the name of Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith, a busy physician, an author, a mom. And she has a phenomenal website. I love it. Her website is I Choose My Best Life. Sandra, I want to choose my best life. Yeah, she wrote the book Sacred Rest. She's been on Women's Day, MSNBC. She's been on TED Talk, Good Housekeeping, Fox, Prevention Magazine. She's an internist and a doctor. Now, before we get to her, and I hope you just hang in there for a second, Dr. Sandra, Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith, I want to introduce Dr. Khanna. He's going to give a short speech, and then we'll get into the interview with you. Again, we are on the Voice of the Kids segment with KhannaForKids.com. Could somebody please mute themselves? We're getting some crosstalk. Thank you. And Dr. Khanna is an attorney. He is the servant of the underserved. He is the champion of the nonprofit Voice of the Kids. He is also a child safety advocate, and he has just launched, as many of you know, and we've just introduced the 2018 initiative, which is the Juvenile Justice Reformation Act, which is what we're doing is what he is doing, and I'm helping him, is addressing something that is not in the act, is how do we help those who gets out of incarceration, those young people, how do we help them get back into society so we don't have an 80%, that's the number, 80% recidivism rate, which means repeat felony rate. How do we stop that? So that's what we're working on. Dr. Khanna, I'm going to turn it over to you, and then you can interview Dr. Dalton Smith. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gary. Thank you, audience, and thank you, Dr. Saunders. And thank you, Brother Willie. Nice to see your beautiful face. Where is your pink shirt?
Thank you. I didn't wear it today, but
oh man, that was nice.
I'll wear it.
Well, I should have told you today is a pink day because it's the election result coming day, hopefully. So, and thank you very much, audience of CFC. I'm so glad. Normally, I don't come on Wednesdays, but I just came here because I cannot miss this opportunity to have a conversation with the most amazing person, Dr. Saunders, who is offering so much to the children. So I feel like, and Dr. Saunders, you don't know that Brother Willie is 207 years old. So that means he's also a child. After 200 years, everybody turns to be a child. So he's a child. So put him in your program so that he can have a better mental situation. Dear audience, I really want to take this opportunity to tell and focus on the importance of having a good mental health for the children. Good mental health allows children to think clearly, develop socially, and learn new skills. Additionally, good friends and encouraging words from adults are all important for helping children develop their self-confidence. Children should have self-confidence, high self-esteem, and a healthy emotional outlook on the life. Just like how Gary said, we launched a new initiative based on the Juvenile Justice Reformation Act 2018 to help the incarcerated juveniles, those are young adults now when they come out of the jail, and they're released and they don't get proper acceptance in the society. So we introduced a new program where we are going to help them. We are going to show them that they are very important in this society. So what happens is, yes, they are physically released from the incarceration, but they're not released from mental incarceration. And this is where we have this wonderful, wonderful individual, the doctor, the mother, who can understand the mental situation of a juvenile or a young adult coming out of the jail, and they can be well treated. So the basics of child's good physical health are, what are those? Well, nutritious food, adequate shelter and sleep, exercise, immunization, healthy living environment. But on top of it is unconditional love from the family, self-confidence and high self-esteem, the opportunity to play with other children, with other co-workers, encouraging teachers and supportive caretakers, appropriate guidance and discipline. And this is what is important. And what is lacking today is give those children unconditional love. That will definitely, I'm sure Dr. Saunders is going to prescribe every parents, those who are listening to us, that unconditional love to your children is very, very important. Love, security, acceptance should be at the heart of family life. Children need to know that your love does not depend on his or her accomplishments. Mistakes or defeats should be expected and accepted. Confidence grows in a home that is full of unconditional love and affection. By saying this, I would like to end my speech here, but I would like to tell everyone, those who are listening or those who will be listening, especially the mothers, the parents, the brothers, the elder sisters, or whoever, the siblings, please provide your unconditional love to your children, unconditional love to your brothers, unconditional love to your friend, because they deserve, they need that unconditional love. Just like how Brother Willie provides the unconditional love to all of us. Even though he's 207 years old, but still he provides the unconditional love. Thank you very much. I'd like to turn over to Gary. Please welcome Dr. Saunders.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saunders. We're really excited to hear about you, your book, Sacred Rest, and how I think I'd really be interested in how it applies to the youth today, because everybody, they're on the phone, they're not getting sleep. It's a really interesting book. There's a bunch of questions that we'd love to get answered. Dr. Sandra Dalton-Smith, give us a brief background. I'm going to hand it back to Dr. Khanna of yourself. Go ahead.
Yes, well, I agree. I think for the most part, the thing with Sacred Rest, the book, when I wrote it with a mindset of how can we help families get out of this current situation where everybody's tired all the time, feeling burned out, not having the energy to be able to have healthy home situations. Everybody's kind of in this mode of let's just do what we can and just kind of stay just one step ahead of the curve. And what I want to see is a situation where there's margin in people's lives, where there's actually room to be able to spend time talking to their children and finding out what kind of issues are going on with them, for children to feel like they do have that safe place. And that's when it started to really develop into this whole evaluation of what does it mean to be well rested? What does that look like socially? What does it look like creatively? And then how do we help children to be able to get back to a healthy place, mind, body, and spirit? Because there's a lot of focus sometimes on the physical without taking into account how the spiritual and how the emotional and the mental aspect of that then kind of turns around and affects the physical, and oftentimes affects how they function at school, how well they function at sports, and ultimately how they live their life going forward.
No, thank you very much, Dr. Saunders. This is amazing. I was actually looking at how children can choose their best life. Well, I'm sure you face this. Children cannot choose their best life. If they can, then they would not be called as children. Even today, I don't know what is my best life is. Okay, so definitely, children having that mindset is also, very, very difficult. That's why, forget about, let's keep ourselves a little bit away from this juvenile incarceration. Any child, when they go from elementary school to high school, or middle school to high school, first of all, they are already baffled. They're already struggling that, oh my God, what am I going to do in 8th grade or 9th grade or 10th grade? And then when because they're preteens, right? The preteens, the brain is not developed. Okay, they're bombarded with, the different subjects, different, peer pressure, a lot of things, and especially with 2020, whatever is happening, whatever we are seeing in the pandemic, that's another challenge. They were not equipped for that. So how do you see these children, which they're already struggling, but now they have this additional struggle? Okay, they don't know whether they can see their friends. They don't know whether they can go and play outside. They don't know what is going to happen to next. And, how do you see, how can we handle them? What is the message do you like to give it to the children, to the parents? How can they deal with it?
Well, I think that's the thing. We have to start with looking at what is at the core of of that particular situation. Even looking at the pandemic and everything that's changed this year, what it's helped parents see is that we have not been teaching children how to be resilient. We have not taught children how to be effective at managing change. We have become a society that's very comfortable with routine and having kind of static situations. And that's not reality. That's not life. That's not, and that really came to the forefront in 2020 when everybody's normal got completely uprooted. It's important. Resilience has been a buzzword, I think, for a long time. And I think this year it became a reality for most people. Am I resilient? What does that mean? How do I build it? How do I help my children be good choice makers? For a lot of children, they struggle with choice as adults because they have never been taught how to make better choices as a child. It starts even in just the very basic things. Sometimes parents, in our desire to help our children succeed, we take away their opportunity to learn how to choose best from good. And so what happens is they say, I want this crayon. I want to paint the person this color. And the parent says, no, people aren't green. Who says the child can't use that color? You have to let children be able to make their own choices and then see what the consequences are for the choices that they make. When you take that away, then when peer pressure comes, they're influenced just by someone else. They haven't learned how to effectively erect personal boundaries and to use the word no and to make a decision that's not people pleasing and maybe ends them in a situation that they can't get out of. They're able to actually have their own ability to make up their mind about something and feel like I don't have to follow the crowd. I don't have to be in a situation where I allow peer pressure to take me down a situation when I can make my own choice that may be different than what everyone else is doing.
That's so important point you're making it, that children, giving the ability to a child to make their choice, their own choice, is so important, because we always, as a parents or as a teacher, we always try to make the choice for them. Like you gave the example. Well, they picked up a red color and wanted to paint in red. Well, you may not like the red color, but that child likes the red color. Okay? Don't impose your own idea to the child where the child has to, I cannot use the red color. Okay, sorry, mom, or sorry, teacher, I'm going to use, what color should I use? Or no, use blue or blue green. Well, why? And I like the way you said, yes, there is a way to say no to it if you think that red color is not appropriate for whatever reason is. Okay, for whatever reason is. So we don't do that. And that's again lack of awareness. Means, and today's society, we are seeing a lot of teen pregnancies happening. We are seeing a lot of mothers, those who are 18, 19, even less than that. They don't have any education how to raise the child, and so they don't know, how to react, how to act, and especially with pandemic. And you brought the right thing that, we all were, especially in this country, everybody goes in a certain pattern, right? All of a sudden, in 2020, the pattern got changed. So how are we going to deal with that? Okay.
Well, I think that's where we have to start with. We need to build resilient skills, not just within the adults, but within families. Exactly. It has to be in the family unit. It can't just be the teachers. It can't just be the doctors and the therapists. It has to start. Now, they can assist. They can be a part of the solution, but it can't solely be dumped on them to teach our children how to be resilient, because honestly, many parents don't know how to be resilient. So there has to be kind of this time of actually self-educating on what needs to happen for our family not to always be so stressed. I often, with families that I work with, I ask them, when you walk into your home, do you feel like you walk into a haven, as if this is a safe place? Or do you feel like you walk in already with your kind of antennas up, waiting to see what's going to happen? You're already kind of on guard before you walk into your home. Because if you as the adult is doing that, I can guarantee you your child is doing it that much more, because they are picking up on whatever response that you're giving in those moments. And so it's important to evaluate, if your home has a very kind of toxic or high stress environment, what are some basic things you can do to start decreasing that stress level? And it could include, and I mean very basic things, it could include setting up some boundaries in how much electronics you're going to have ongoing in your home. Many families have TVs going 24/7, whether anybody's watching them or not. Their computer, everyone's sitting at the kitchen table with their iPhones or their iPads going. We have to kind of get an idea of how some of these things are affecting us mentally. Yes, it is Dr. not Sandra. Healthy for people to be on social media all day long. Our emotional capacity was never meant to consume that many people's issues at the same time. And with teens, they have more issues than anybody. So they definitely don't need to be us consuming all of their friends' drama and trauma through social media all day long. There has to be some limits.
Thank you, Doctor. I've got a question for you, because you're touching on an interesting point. And there's been studies showing that young kids on the social media, on their phones, are not getting enough sleep. And there's been a different study relating lack of sleep to suicide. As a doctor, could you comment on that?
Absolutely. I think that this is the issue that most people have we look at sleep and we think just the physical. And absolutely, sleep has a physical component to it. We understand that. But the lack of sleep affects your brain's ability to process information. And so it's the same reason why in March, when we drop that clock back for an hour, we have more heart attacks, more suicides, more accidents, because our reflex times are down. We're not as sharp as we normally are. Our ability to cope and adapt emotionally is down. And then our cortisol levels actually go up because of the increased stress of not getting that sleep. That same thing for many children is ongoing. Every day they're going to bed at midnight or 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and then having to wake up and be at school that next morning. We have to understand it's not just about the child's yawning during class or not paying attention during class because they're half asleep. It's actually affecting them on a much deeper level.
Thank you.
Well, let me just jump in for a minute, Gary. Dr. Saunders, this is Brother Willie, and I just wanted to ask the question to the fact that when you were saying that if a child wants to, draw people and, green people, we shouldn't tell them no, that you can't actually draw people green. And where what point do you suggest that you have to not necessarily put the fear of God in our kids, especially in the inner city, to let them know that people are not green. People are this type. In other words, I'm just using that, but to let them know you don't want to create a environment where it's hostile when they come home, but where and what and how do you put your foot down to say, when I say stop, you stop? Because what's happening, we're seeing a lot of our kids are being shot by police and other people, and when they give them simple orders, they don't follow them. So I'm thinking that as a child, you have to be able to understand when, you know, the reality of situation, not to create a bad environment in the home, but you have to understand when daddy says stop, you must stop.
Yes, I 100% agree with that. And this is the thing about that. They need to know there needs to be a difference, because what happens is if I'm telling you to stop and you're doing something that's not going to get you killed, not going to get you hurt, it just doesn't line up with what I want you to do. That's different than me telling you to stop because you're running out into the street and that'll kill you. But unfortunately, parents use the same stop, sounds the same way for both situations. So then it's almost like that kid who cried wolf situation. So the child hears stop when they're doing something that really doesn't have that big of an effect on their overall well-being, the same way they hear stop when they're about to run out in the street and get hit. Nothing happened with the first situation. Why should they believe something going to happen with the second? We have to help them be able to see that there are times when we want them to use their creative license, their ability to choose, their ability to think for themselves. And there are times when we as parents are going to discipline them and guide them because the situation has more dire side effects that can occur. And you have to let them be able to know that there's a difference, because otherwise they're not going to listen to you when you're telling them the important stuff, because you're always telling them stuff. You're always telling them what to do. You're not differentiating that this is more serious than whether or not you paint the person green or blue.
Wow. Absolutely. This is such a, and also in your book, you mentioned something about, or you deal with also rest, right? How rest is important for everybody. It's not only for, for children, but with today's pandemic thing, because they have to go online starting from 7 o'clock. It depends upon which school you are in, till 2-3 o'clock, nonstop on the Zoom or whatever app they're using. And then after that, how do you see that they can get that rest during the work days?
It's hard right now because of all of the stuff that's changed up. That's why I think we do have to have some limits. If their school has them, let's say, on Zoom from 8 to 2, then there needs to be some time when they're doing things that are not related to the electronics. To let them do some creative things, let them be able to do something physically with their body. If they can't go outside the house, maybe there's something physical that they can do inside the house. One of the things that I talk about and that most of the research that I've done is based on is that there are actually 7 different types of rest. So we all know about sleeping. That's the physical component primarily, the passive component of physical. Then we have mental rest, spiritual rest, emotional, social, sensory, and creative. And so it's important that we as adults and children get rest in all these different areas. Spiritual, that relationship with God, making sure that we make children understand that's important. It's important to start building up that knowledge early, because you can't turn someone kind of their whole idea about faith around after they're a teen. It helps to have them kind of begin at a point where they begin to think about those kind of things, even in their youth. And then when we're talking about emotional rest, that specifically has to do with having the ability or feeling as if you are accepted, that you're loved, that you are able to share what's going on in your life, whether it's good or bad, and you're still going to be accepted and loved. And as a physician, one of the things that's probably the most distressful to me is when I'm in the ICU or I'm in the ER and I'm there with a child who's attempted suicide. And I'm talking with them, trying to find out kind of what led up to this, because oftentimes it's kids who it's hard to see what it was that kind of led them to this situation. And for many of them, they feel as if they don't do it perfect, if I don't keep my A's, I messed it up. I had sex out of marriage, or, I had sex as a 15-year-old and now I'm pregnant, or something else happened. And so now they're in a situation where they think that if they're not perfect, then they're not going to be loved and accepted. And I think it's important that they understand that.
Coming to the end of the program, I want to ask a quick question. You have a program you put together, 5 reasons why faith is essential during a health crisis. Give us 30 seconds, and I'm going to go back to Dr. Khanna.
Yes, 5 reasons why faith is essential. I think because we all need to stay within a body of believers. It's very easy, particularly in a situation like it is right now, to lose hope. And once you lose hope, it's hard to get back on track to being able to stay mentally positive, to stay in a place that you feel like things can get better. And when you lose hope, that's when people start spiraling downward. And so I think one of the key parts of reasons why faith is important is because it keeps you connected to a body of believers and you can stay in a place of hope.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Dr. Sandra can be found at ichoosemybestlife.com with a positive place. We're here with Dr. Surajit Khanna. We're here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday with Willie and Christian Fellowship Council and Voice of the Kids. We also do a morning show. You should join us on our digital morning show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at Khanna4kids.com. Willie, I'm going to turn it back to you because I know I'm running out of time right now.
Well, we want to thank you, Gary, Dr. Khanna, and definitely the doctor, very knowledgeable and helpful. And we just want to say thank you so much. Listen, we want you to continue to tune in. We're going to take a break. We're going to go to our commercials, and we also want you to tune in every Tuesday from 4 to 6, every Tuesday from 3 to 6, every Wednesday from 3 to 6, and every Friday from 3 to 4. You'll be able to hear Dr. Khanna and Brother Gary bringing some great information. And we just want to continue to support, and we want your support. We need your support, and we want you to continue to be there for us, because we are definitely going to be here for you. Again, we will be back after this station identification with another part of the program. And so, again, keep it locked. Don't you dare touch that dial. I got a song here for you, but let me go to a commercial right quick.
Thank you, Dr. Khanna.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saunders. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Brother Willie.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience. And this is a very important message. So please listen to the take care of, love your children. That is very important.
Yes.
Love your children. Give them more and more attention and give them love. Thank you again.